Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Jack Hagel. Several GOP-controlled states have imposed new abortion restrictions ever since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Now, North Carolina lawmakers are quietly debating how and when they might propose new restrictions. WRAL state government reporter Travis Fain has been following the issue, and he joins us today. Travis, welcome back.
Glad to be here.
So just to start off, what is the law in North Carolina?
So right now, you basically can't have an abortion unless there is a medical emergency after 20 weeks into the pregnancy. That's the law, and it has been not that long because there was a federal lawsuit that limited that law from going into effect. But once, as you said, Roe v. Wade was struck down, that has been the law since then, roughly.
And how does North Carolina compare to other states?
I can't give you chapter and verse, but we are kind of a destination for abortion in the South. You know, a lot of Republican-controlled states around us have enacted stricter prohibitions. So you are starting to see people travel here.
So what's now being proposed? You spoke with legislative leaders last week. What did they have to tell you?
So basically that they don't have a consensus yet among their fellow Republicans, and Republicans hold majorities in the General Assembly, so they have most of the say on how this works. No consensus yet. We don't know exactly when that consensus is going to come. The Speaker of the House told me last week, at first he said, we think next week, so this week we'll have a bill out. And then he said, well, possibly. And then that got kind of backed off and doesn't look like it's going to come immediately, although you can get surprised in this business, that's for sure. What we're hearing the most talk about through the grapevine, because this is all kind of being hashed out in secret, is 12 weeks, 13 weeks, somewhere in there. There is a lot of push for what we call a heartbeat bill, which would be more like the 6-week mark. But I think it would be difficult. There are a lot of kind of suburban Republicans who want to get reelected and might be able to vote for a 12 or a 13-week bill and still keep their office, whereas a 6-week bill would make it more difficult to win a general election. Now, of course, primaries are important too, and there is a real push from religious conservatives in general, for that heartbeat bill, that 6-week bill. So, I mean, that's kind of the push and pull that's making it difficult for Republicans to come down to a number here on this bill.
If Republicans can pass a bill and Governor Roy Cooper, a Democrat, rejects it, is there any way that Republicans can get Democratic lawmakers over to their side for a veto override?
Yeah, absolutely. Not a lot of Democrats, probably. Abortion is kind of a bright line issue for both parties, but really for Democrats in particular. But there is a Republican from down in Scotland and Hoke counties. His name is Garland Pierce. He's a pastor. He has voted with Republicans in the past on abortion issues. When a bunch of pro-life demonstrators were at the state legislature last week, Pierce spoke to them. I spoke to Pierce afterward, and I said, hey, where are you on this? Would you vote for a 12-week bill? Would you vote for a 13-week bill? Would you vote for a heartbeat bill? And he wouldn't get into the specifics. But, I mean, it's clear that he is going to struggle with this, and he is the one member that people are looking at the most as kind of the key swing vote on this issue. Because like you mentioned, Republicans only have to pick up one Democrat and they can pass this, and Governor Roy Cooper, a Democrat, can't do anything about it. He can't veto it. He can veto it, but his veto will not hold. And there are a couple other Democrats, too, that we might look to on this, but Pierce is the one to keep your eye on, probably.
Well, who are the other Democrats? And also, are there any Republicans who might not go along with this?
Sure. There's definitely some Republicans who they may end up going along with it, but they'll struggle with the decision. We mentioned earlier, suburban Democrats in some of these growing areas where it's kind of close to 50-50 between a Republican and a Democrat. It's going to be tough to take a vote on a significant restriction on abortions and still get reelected in the general election. So that's the calculus. Again, the Republicans are just going to have to thread the needle without upsetting conservatives who are very pro-life too much, but also without causing concerns, causing a revolt among more moderate Republicans.
So what do you expect to happen out of this? What would the political ramifications be?
I mean, I expect a ban to pass at 12 weeks or so, somewhere in there. We're just hearing that number too much. And I think it would probably be paired with some adoption regulation changes to ease that process, probably some money for early childhood development to help young mothers who are either forced because of this bill to have a baby they don't want, or just in general to help young mothers, single moms, because the Speaker of the House has said several times that he wants to see some of these things included in this debate. Whether it would be part of the same bill or not, I don't know. I would expect it to be part of the same bill, though, because, again, that makes the vote easier, right? The Speaker continually says that he wants to see this done compassionately, with compassion for the people that it impacts. So we'll see how they package it all together.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll hear more about what North Carolina lawmakers are considering and what voters want when it comes to abortion laws. Stick around. Welcome back to the WRAL Daily Download. We're talking with WRAL state government reporter Travis Fain about possible new abortion restrictions in the Tar Heel state. Travis, we've talked about the abortion restrictions that lawmakers are debating, but what do voters want?
Polling shows that the 20-week ban that we have now polls pretty well. I don't know exactly the cutoff of where you get below majority support, but I put it this way. A 12 or a 13-week ban is not going to change people's minds or move the needle or get the national attention that a heartbeat bill would. A heartbeat bill, a 6-week bill, immediately makes North Carolina a major national story about abortion. And a 12-week bill probably does too for a couple of days, and then the world moves on. There's a real difference there between those things.
What percentage of abortions happen after 12 weeks? Do you know?
It's really low. So something like 85 to 90% of abortions that are performed in this state and in this country are done before either the 12-week mark or the 13-week mark. And that's why religious conservatives are really pushing for this heartbeat bill, because from their way of looking at it, a 12-week bill just doesn't save that many babies. The lion's share of abortions that are occurring can continue to occur under that bill. And that's why you're seeing, even though we'd go from 20 to 12, and that seems like 8 weeks, and it seems like a lot, it just doesn't capture that many actual procedures.
So what happens in the meantime?
We wait. The Republicans and Democrats too, but Republicans are what's relevant here. They meet routinely in what's called a caucus. That is private. I wish it was open, because, these Republicans hold majorities in both the House and Senate. This is where the decisions get made, in these private caucus meetings. And so they're having meetings about this bill. They want to negotiate, the House and Senate, one bill, as opposed to the House having a bill and the Senate having a bill, and then this public debate happening about which one we should go with. They want it kind of negotiated ahead of time, and it will emerge from that caucus process and move forward in the General Assembly. They will already have the votes locked and loaded, so they can move fairly quickly through the public part of this process. So that's what's happening now, and what will happen until such time as they get consensus, and then things could move very quickly.
Travis, I wonder, how is this issue going to play out in the 2024 election?
Whatever gets done here will have impact up and down the ballot. We talked about the impact on legislative races. It would also be an issue, I would think, in the governor's race, because, right now we've got a Democratic governor and a Republican legislature. So if the Republican legislature passes something that Democrats don't like, there's the veto option. Whether or not it can be sustained is another issue. But in 2024, we're almost certain to again elect a Republican legislature. The question is, do we elect a Republican governor who signs those bills on social issues and other issues, or do we elect another Democrat? Josh Stein is the Democrat who's running. He's Attorney General now. Mark Robinson is the current Lieutenant Governor. He's a Republican, very popular. We fully expect him to announce a run for governor soon. He's made it clear that he will. And there are a couple other Republicans too but they would all be pro-life. They would all be anti-abortion, and so you would expect abortion bills to pass much more easily. So if we pass a 12-week ban this year, who's to say that in 2024 we wouldn't do a 6-week ban and have it signed by a Republican governor? So I think you can expect abortion to be a major issue in statewide elections come 2024, regardless of what passes this year.
Well, Travis, I know you're going to be following this and keeping us up to speed. Thanks for joining us again.
Absolutely.
That's WRAL state government reporter Travis Fain. For all of our legislative coverage, including on the abortion issue, visit the NC Capital section of WRAL.com. I'm Jack Hagel. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for listening to the WRAL Daily Download and for making us part of your morning routine. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. It's a daily email with Triangle news, events, and headlines to help get ready for the day. Sign up at wral.com/newsletter.
Leave a comment and share this video with your friends. With daily uploads, there will always be a conversation.